On today's show, 5 things we learned from promoting a live streamed show.
This is 30-Minute Music Marketing. Hi, I'm Greg.
Hello, I'm Sheldon, and this is 30-Minute Music Marketing, the show for independent artists and DIY musicians who want to get better at marketing their music. And after a number of months being forcibly separated and recording the show in our own abodes, we are, despite the camera angle, you can't see it if you're listening to it on the podcast, we are appropriately socially distanced. I hand sanitized on the way in. So we are recording this under safe COVID conditions, but we're in the room together for the first time in what seems like ages, so much so that you've not bothered to charge the microphones up.
To be honest, I think the battery just basically ran out.
Right. You know, these are troubling and confusing times. But today's show is referencing something that we sort of did over the weekend, in the fact that my band performed its first live ticketed show ever.
Was it? Was your very first pay-per-view gig?
Pay-per-view, that's a very good expression and good terminology. So we thought that today's show would be pretty good.
Relevant
And sort of we're reflecting back and seeing what we've learned from it. The idea being that all the things that we've learned can now be passed on to you, our audience at home, in the hope that if you want to start putting on your own live streamed shows on whatever platform that may be, then you can learn from our experiences. Now, in times gone by, in fact, it was way back in episode number 5, we gave top 10 tips for promoting a live music show. So we don't want to necessarily cover old ground. That would be a very good episode to watch, maybe even
it'll be in the link below
before this. So, but we want to specifically talk about the things that we've learnt from promoting this live show. I think because obviously we're a marketing podcast, we'll talk about the marketing first. What we might actually do is if we want to
should we talk about what the outcome was first and then explain?
No.
Oh, okay.
It was a success.
Okay, right, fair enough. It was a very good success.
Yeah, we managed to, over a very short period of time, sell 400 tickets. So that was good. So we'll talk about maybe some of the logistics of how you, as the technical side of things, did it. We'll do that at the end, because that might not be something that someone's.
We don't want to bore them to begin with.
No, exactly. But we can give it at the end as a little bonus. So we'll talk about some of the logistics at the end. In terms of the technical deets.
Yes.
But we'll talk more about the
because
actual...
there was a bit of a learning curve.
Well, there's always life is one learning curve.
So
but I've managed to break it down into 5 main takeaway points.
Okay.
Concerning the marketing and selling, which I think will be of use to our audience at home.
Very much so, especially if you want it to be a success.
We all do. So what is point number 1?
So point number 1 is make sure you lay the groundwork before the on sale.
On sale, when tickets are on sale. So the thing is that for the most part, people aren't used to buying tickets for live streamed events at this moment in time, at least.
I think certainly for gigs, I think the pay-per-view, if you're used to kind of watching sporting events online or wrestling, which I know utilizes then and also I was going to say gaming, but that's probably not. But I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of people who are used to the pay-per-view, but it's not normally associated for music events.
So you have to sort of think as to your own individual sort of content output and how that might necessarily have to change, or what you've already got in place before you actually start to sell a live stream experience. So the one thing, let's just, because we're recording this sort of just after lockdown, the one thing that happened throughout that particular period is that myself and my band, we doubled down on the content that we were providing for our audience. So we were doing we do a quiz show a week. We've been doing...
Is that like a pub quiz show?
It's like a pub quiz. We've been doing additional sort of... We did a game show for a couple of weeks. For a period of about 6 weeks, we were doing like a karaoke show, taking our old videos and put in the words to it. So 20 minutes, half an hour's worth of content. So giving them lots of free stuff and not much in the way of live sort of music
guess because you couldn't have got together. And also you're in danger of kind of just showing people what they can't experience and making them feel a bit more miserable.
So what we did is we gave, we were doing the Gary Vee approach. We were giving
Gary Vee. You've mentioned that guy's name before. He's very insightful.
He's very good at what he does. And then we've left it as long as possible. And now what's happened is when, certainly at the start of COVID, the world and his wife was sitting in the front room strumming an acoustic guitar, and all that seems to have fallen by the wayside. And now I'm in a position to go, right, all those people have stopped. Now I'm going to start. But so we've been giving people lots of content, and people have specifically said to us in the comments after the gig, you've done so much for us in the meantime. We're going to do something for you now. So we've been giving people lots of content, and now is the time for us to go for the ask. And the ask has been successful. Now, if you're one of the musicians that have been producing lots of live music with your
Which phone, I have seen, quick question, which is on this subject matter, right? On some of the content that you did prior to this, so your groundwork, so to speak, did you put anything up regarding PayPal donations?
Yes.
What response did that have? I don't want specifics. I'm just talking in terms of, what was the engagement with that like?
We only did it once, but we made it a special occasion.
Okay.
We made it a 1 hour special live stream. The intention being is we're going to solidly entertain you for an hour.
Keyword is entertain, isn't it?
Entertain for an hour. We did a bit of music, a bit of live music for the first time that anyone had seen from us for many, many months.
As a collective.
Right. Lots of other, chitty chatter and entertaining features beside. And we said, right, and because of this, for an hour, so almost like the equivalent of an ad break, as it were, we go, right, well, and now you can reward us here at this particular event.
As a percentage compared to the gig that you've just done, what would you say it
only brought in, I would say, about 20%.
But really, that small?
But there was no outlay.
No, but it goes to show that the difference between a paid event and donation is considerably different. So what I'm getting is I've seen a lot of people at on Facebook doing these Facebook live streams and stuff, and you can donate here, but ultimately the likelihood is if you've received a small amount there, you will receive a bigger amount potentially by doing something that might have cost you a little bit, but the returns will be higher.
Yeah, and like I was saying, if you're one of these musicians that have been producing live stuff, maybe again just broadcasting from your phone, it may well be that you're gonna have to back off from that a little. So make your streams a little bit shorter. And just go, right, but I'm going to be broadcasting for longer on this particular paid event on this particular night. Or maybe stress to people that by doing a paid for live stream show, what we're actually going to be doing is we're going to up the production. And sort of say, I'm giving you this that's filmed on a phone and it's for free. However, let's all hop onto this big sort of produced and in fact let's call it a show rather than just a live stream from your
it becomes like it becomes an event rather than just I mean I'm all for people doing like little things in their conservatory or their garden or their lounge or whatever, but this is what I've had a few people ask after the event and I ask about it, and I've said to people, if you want to charge, then you have to do something that is worth paying for, compared to, you're not going to be able to have done all the free stuff and then charge for it, because just people would go, well, I'll wait till they do another free one. But if it becomes an event that everything is upped, that you've increased everything tenfold, quality and everything else like that, then I don't think people begrudge paying.
So remembering the concept of the fan bank, there's got to be the groundwork laid in terms of giving people content, and then we can go for the ask and make that withdrawal.
I know he's not a character you like, but this is all that Jonathan Pye did. He just gave loads and loads of content.
Built up an audience.
And literally, and then you had sellout tours, not only in the UK, but in Australia, and even, I think was even going to get to the point of touring in the States.
Yeah.
So, this idea that there seems to be a lot of people that bemoan giving away stuff for free because they fear it impacts.
It potentially, devalues what you do, but
it doesn't.
There is value in you as a brand and as a person, and if you're nurturing, there's value in the relationship. But it's by giving all that stuff and creating the relationship and the bond, then when you do ask, it's going to be so much easier, and people aren't going to be scared of putting their hands in the pockets.
But the thing is, though, I might say, as an example, that this is worth £500, but if no one's heard of it, it's not worth anything. There's more value in people knowing about it than me stating a value before I've even started. So, and I still think there's the values placed in your audience. That's your real value, rather than, what you think your monetary value is.
So, point number 1, lay the groundwork first. Point number 2, Greg?
If you do not promote the show, nothing will happen.
Remember how I previously referred to gigs as sort of 3-party endeavours?
Yes.
In the UK, at least, you've normally got the venue, you've got the promoter,
and
you've got the artists themselves. And each one of those people shares the burden or the responsibility of helping to promote and sell that particular show.
A lot of people think only one person has the...
Yeah. But if you're doing a live stream show yourself, just you on the Todd, guess what? There is only one person whose responsibility it is to promote that show. And that person is you. And it can potentially be a lot of work. So do you have it within you? Let's put it that way. Are you willing to do that work?
Well, to be fair, though, the viewers and listeners should have a bit of a head start, because we've already done a Facebook promotional campaign and showed them how to do it. So they should be a little bit more savvy.
Obviously, our viewers, I'm sure, would relish the task of doing it. But, you just have to be aware that no one else is going to be doing it other than you. There's going to be no one else to blame. But, so you've got to have the responsibility, and you've got to have it in you, and just to go, right, yeah, it's going to be me that's doing this. Because if you're not there showing up on the socials and doing all those plugs, which we'll talk about very, very shortly, nothing's going to happen. No tickets are going to be sold, and there's no one to blame other than yourself. If anything, it might be a sobering experience, because bands often go, well, it's the promoter's job to promote the gig. I'm not going to be doing it. It's the promoter's job. Well, guess what? For a live stream show,
you are the promoter.
You are the promoter, and let's see how easy it is.
Well, at least one thing, if they have been doing the groundwork, they've been doing point 1, they should already be able to use analytics to see their audience base, to know which is the best audience to target when they come to do some promotion, so they know that they're hitting the right people rather than hoping for the best, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, the thing with a show such as this is that it's probably going to be exclusively to your own audience. The thing about a gig is that there's a certain number of ticket sales that might be from just very sort of casual people who might live in the area, people who might be fans of that particular genre. So in other words, if you're a fan of reggae and you see there's a reggae band on somewhere near you, even if you might not necessarily know them, you might go, oh,
you'll take a punt.
I'll take a punt on that. However, what will generally happen is, for something like a live stream show, you probably get only people buying tickets. They are your warm audience, the people who know you reasonably well and want to take part in that particular night. So, but yeah, the responsibility is yours. Make sure you're up for the task, because it is sold out. So you could do it, I'm sure. But you can't blame anyone other than yourself.
Are you able to give the listeners and viewers a slight brief rundown of what campaign you did for your show? Or is that one of the other questions?
Yeah, let's go further down. In fact, that's probably the next one, Greg.
Okay, right. So, yeah, actually, you're right. So, point number 3, which will expand upon
a little
point
further,
number 2.
Yes.
Social media is the best form of sales.
So we only had quite a short sales window.
Actually, how long did you promote it for?
15 days.
Right, okay.
That's not a long period of time, because in the real world of gigging and event promotion, the sweet spot tends to be around venues like to give 3 months.
Really?
Yes. So, but I think for an online event, you're probably allowed a shorter time span, because the thing about an event that you have to go to in a town or city is that takes a lot of potentially logistical planning. Oh, you've got it right. Well, do you have to potentially book a room, as some people might do? You got to work out your train time and who potentially is going to mind the dog while I'm out, or the kids. Could have kids, could have a dog. Who do I know? And so, there's logistics to sort. And do I need to get Lorraine a ticket? And I'm not going to buy a ticket until I know exactly how many. Yeah, neither. Whereas if it's just something that you can watch sat inside your own front room, you can probably leave that quite late. So we were selling tickets through Eventbrite, and
Why did you use Eventbrite? Because when you first started talking about this, I was like, are they just going to sell it direct from the website?
Eventbrite is, it's an easy ticket platform to set up and start selling from. But for me, the most important factor was the fact that you can install a Facebook pixel on your Eventbrite page. So what that means is Facebook ads and Eventbrite can talk to each other, and they can tell each other how much it has cost to achieve one ticket sale.
Right, so that's an answer I was totally not expecting. Okay. I thought you were going to say just because it's an easy way of being able to email the unlisted YouTube link, for which was where the broadcast was.
No. It was primarily down to Facebook. It's easy to set up a show.
Right.
It was just a case of, because, as in, I want to become an event organizer. Mm-hmm. Okay, fine. I want to set up a particular show. Fine. Right, it's on sale. Here's the link.
So in terms of Eventbrite, they do all the monetary handling. Is that correct?
And also Eventbrite integrates with Facebook directly. So if you're on the event page, you can select the number of tickets on the Facebook event page. You don't need to go to an external ticket provider. Everything can be done from within Facebook.
Wow. Okay.
Bazinga.
Hello. Yeah. I mean, that also, I suppose, gives customer confidence, because everything, you're not suddenly being directed to another.
To a strange ticketing platform that you might have never, like Zao tickets. It's like, is this entirely legitimate? Are they actually going to send me anything?
Okay. This sounds amazing, simple and confident integration. How much does it cost, Sheldon?
What, for Eventbrite?
Yes.
Well, the thing is, you can set it up so that the booking fees that people so very much don't particularly like,
despise paying.
Booking fees can be incorporated into the overall ticket price, or you can set a ticket price and booking fees were on top. So in this particular case, ticket price was £7. However, booking and transaction fees were on top of that. So I think the customer paid £8.14 a ticket.
So it's either going to hit you £1.14, or it's going to hit the customer £1. But during these pressing times,
I passed it on to the customer. Or I could have just said, tickets are £8 or £8.50.
Sorry, but ultimately it's not massively expensive.
It technically didn't cost me anything. So that's all right.
And no one begrudged, did they?
No, I think booking fees and
as much as we hate it,
are, it's just one of those things.
And to be honest, it's only going to get worse with venues.
So let's get back to Eventbrite. I had an app on my phone which is able to monitor ticket sales, and the one thing I was able to do is, after a round of reminding people on the socials, on all platforms at once, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, I was able then to see a corresponding spike in sales.
Okay.
So I know for a fact that social media was directly responsible for a lot of those sales. So you have to make sure that you've got lots of content to use on your socials that can be used not necessarily again and again, fresh, different types of content. So
that's what I was going to say. You weren't running the same.
No, not the same. I was finding clever and different ways to remind people, and posting once every 2 days.
Right. At a set time?
No, well, at different times. So in other words, I might do one at lunchtime, one in the evening, just so you can catch different people who might want to come on once per day.
That's a good point.
So you've got to make sure that you've got a strong social media, not necessarily presence, but you've got a good schedule of different types of content that you can put out on your socials to remind people, and then obviously that is accompanied by the link, so people can directly go and buy tickets there. And then other methods that I use, obviously we've got a mailing list, but the thing is, you're somewhat restricted online, because like a gig at a venue, you'd be posting inside the venue, outside the venue, maybe local gig guides, that sort of thing, but you are somewhat sort of restricted. So the same as I do for my real world events, I used Facebook ads, used a number of different audiences to target. One of them was people who've engaged with my Facebook page over the past, I think it's 365 days. So anyone who's interacted and messaged or left a comment on my page, they're counted in the overall audience. They were advertised to. I created an audience of the people who said they were either going to, they were going or they were interested in one of my real world events. So I was able to target people who were going to come to a show, but obviously I haven't been able to over the past sort of 6 months. I experimented a little and targeted people who'd watched 75% of my last music video that was a success on Facebook. And I also experimented by showing the advert to a large music festival that we're quite sort of popular at. So the majority of it is people who know of us and have interacted with us and who want to come to see us in real life. And then a little bit of a curveball, let's just try this, see what happens. That one didn't actually work out as well as I'd anticipated in terms of the advert. I actually shut off that particular advert quite early. Yeah, it didn't seem to be generating. Lots of people were looking at the advert,
but it wasn't
generating sales. I was using a sales conversion, which enables Facebook and Eventbrite to talk to each other, and to get that cost per ticket sale.
So how much was it costing per ticket?
It worked out at about
in terms of advertising
74 pence per ticket sold. So £100 worth of advertising was able to generate about £740, which is all right.
So where did the rest of the tickets sit?
Just, again, people who were following the links from the socials or people from my mailing list. They were clicking the link in the mailing list.
Not bad, is it, to go from 100 quid to...
That's a fairly sort of decent return. And obviously, if you want, you can set your ticket price. I almost... Maybe I don't know. I set it at a low price so there'd be a low barrier to entry. Yeah. But now I'm left with if I want to raise it, then I've started it
You'll
quite
have to
low.
Bring Stu in.
Well, that's
value add. I told you, you need
added
to
value.
You need to do upsell.
Upsell, yeah. Well, ways you can upsell. You can sell an MP3 or a WAV of your performance.
Yes, you could.
You could
do a multi-channel Pro Tools recording.
You could have a Zoom green room before the show. So an hour before the show, you can be on a Zoom on a one-to-one. Yeah, virtual meet and greet.
You could attend a sound check.
Oh, would you? You really won't want to do that. They'd have to have the beep machine in for a lot of it, I would imagine. So ultimately, I think make sure you use creative and inventive ways in order to keep reminding people that the show's about to take place and tickets are on sale and they should get their tickets. But as I say, don't necessarily just use the same graphic or the same sort of video. Try and do as many different ways as possible just to keep it. Just to obviously the message is still the same.
You broadcast them from a rehearsal, right? Some content from a rehearsal.
Yes,
session.
that's actually covered in the next point. You're always
I'm reading that from.
Yeah,
I know. Went live from our rehearsal in the afternoon.
Your mind is jumping in because I want to talk more about that.
Okay, so are we going to go on to point 4 then?
Point number 4, yes.
So online ticket sale patterns are like those in the real world.
So I work for an event promoter. I do work for an event promoter when there's not a global pandemic and there's actually events to buy tickets for. So again, let's just talk about this 3-month typical between the announce and the show date. So what happens is, apology for listening on the podcast. I'm going to have to try and. I'm going to
just go watch it on YouTube. We need the views.
We need the views. Yeah, the podcast is more popular than the views. So what happens is the show is announced, and you get lots of ticket sales when the show's announced, and then as the after a week or two, those ticket sales decline because everybody thinks, that show's not for months or for weeks, and so what tends to happen is halfway through the announce date and the show date, you're virtually selling no tickets. But as you get closer to the show date, those ticket sales start ramping up again, and you generally the sales pattern can be different for different bands, for different audience demographics. But I'd normally, as you ramp towards the show date, your ticket sales will rise and rise and rise, and then for some bands, you'll get a bit of a walk-up on the night. For some bands, you'll get quite a lot of a walk-up on the night. Tribute bands tend to get more of a walk-up than normal bands because a tribute band is maybe that thing where somebody on the morning of the show, people will go, shall we go to that? Yeah, let's go to that. They tend to be cheaper than normal bands as well. So it's more of an impulse sort of purchase.
You say they tend to be cheaper?
Yeah.
I thought they should all be cheaper.
Well, if you're going to see the bootleg Beatles, that's going to be more expensive than just seeing a.
Well, you'd only see
Johnny Delgado and the Tornadoes down the local boozer. So that's in the real world. I found that those sorts of ticket sales patterns, they're mirrored in the real on the online world as well. I sold a lot in this 15-day sales period. Sold a lot at first, and then as we dropped off as we got to the halfway point, and then as the show date neared, they sold more and more and more. But, and this surprised me greatly, the last sort of 36 hours, sales went through the roof.
Yeah, I remember you kind of saying, because you said literally, I think like the day before, it was like.
I think we sold something in the region of at least a quarter, getting up to a third.
Over a quarter, I think.
Yeah, over a quarter in the last 24 hours. And what would normally happen is that an online, something like C-Tickets or Ticketmaster, they'd shut off ticket sales sometimes the day before, because what has to happen is then the details of all those ticket purchases have to go to the box office of the venue, and there's always a little bit of a time administrative delay from that. But I shut off, I think it was maybe about 2 hours before we were due to start broadcasting, and I had quite a few people kicking off going, I want to buy me tickets now. And it's like, well, the ticket sales have shut, because obviously there still has to be a period of time where we generate the stream link, and that then has to go to people in a good amount of time to pick that up. So I think the important thing to remember is that in terms of your promotion, if you're promoting a live stream gig, that last 24 hours, you've got to remember is absolutely key. So if anything, double down on your marketing and your promotion. And one of the things that we did is we were having a band rehearsal on the afternoon of the show, and I took great care to do a live stream on Facebook, a live stream on Instagram, and a live stream on Twitter, one song on each platform.
Yep.
And accompanied by the link wherever possible in the actual post. So remind people, here's a song, chatting with people at the end of the song going, don't forget the show's tonight. Make sure you get tickets. Here's the ticket link, or on Instagram, your ticket link is in the bio, just to hammer that message home. And don't shut off your sales too soon, because people will technically want to buy tickets right up to because again, this is almost like the ultimate impulse purchase, because people don't have to step out of the house. People could be sat on the sofa and they could be watching you in technically in a couple of minutes time. But that there has to be a period of time for yourself as a promoter to sort the logistics of sending the streaming link out to the punters. So one thing I will say is that if we know ticket sales are strong at the start, if you don't get those strong ticket sales when your ticket link goes on sale and is announced by you, then maybe you have to think, oh, right, if this isn't working now, I'm going to need to do something different. Maybe you're going to need to put more money in terms of promotion and promoting it right at the start to make people aware. Because I know this as working for a firm of promoters, if we don't get a strong start on a show, we know we're going to be constantly chasing our tails for the next however many weeks or months it is. So that's a sign for us. If we get a slow start, we go, right, this show's going to need some attention. We're going to need to give it more marketing. Maybe we'll potentially have to get the venue to help us, or we might need to draft other parties in to try and help with that marketing and promotion. So you should get a strong start at the start. If you don't, then that's it's a slight warning that you might need to give this a little bit more TLC, just to make sure people are aware that the show is on sale.
Yep. So there you go. Online ticket patterns are just like those in the real world. Okay, so number 5, even for an online show, creating community is key.
So this isn't necessarily directly related to the selling of ticket sales, but it's for people who buy a ticket, and hopefully that you'll want to buy future tickets as well. If you think about a gig, a live music event, it's very much a communal activity.
Yep.
You've got all these disparate people from all around this particular region whenever the gig is being held, and they all have one thing in common. They like the particular artist that they go to see.
Yep.
So really, it's almost like a religious experience. They all converge on the one place to worship whoever is on that sort of stage. And there's a feeling of a common bond of all those people in that room for those, for that particular period of hours. Again, one of the benefits of actually going to a live show, that experience is that you have a common unity. You have something in common with all those people, and that's what makes it sort of feel sort of special. If people are sat on the couch or on a chair at home on their own, or with only their significant other, then they're probably not going to get that. But there are ways that you can actually generate that, and allowing people to talk to each other. So you could.
Well, one thing that we, because we discussed this, and it's a little bit with the infrastructure. We chose YouTube as a platform because we haven't really kind of said we could have done it on Twitch.
We're leaving that for later.
But the advantage, one thing we noticed with YouTube was the fact that people could comment.
Yes, so it's
directly
got a quick and easy comment box.
So you had like an iPad, so you were able to watch the stream as well and see the comments and stuff. So you could directly ask them to your audience. And the other thing is, you had people sending you videos.
Photos, yes. So
photos. Where did they send that information to?
That was in our, I was going to say private. It's not private, but we have a Facebook group which is run alongside our main Facebook page. So basically, all our hardcore fans are in this group, and they were all posting photos of them, in their front room or watching it in their garden.
Yeah.
So we were able to show those and give shout outs to those particular people.
And it really made a difference.
Yeah, it really did, because everybody, although they were in their own abodes, people could see that they were all sharing the same experience. You might be able to use on Instagram or Twitter maybe a specific hashtag for your event that you could search for, and then again you could give shout outs and references to. So everybody, again, the people were watching throughout the world. We had, I think, Australia, New Zealand, United States, Sweden,
really,
Germany. Yeah, we get about a bit us, you know.
You do. The thing is,
but again, all those people for that period of time, obviously they were watching the same thing, but they were able to even communicate with each other.
You were playing to an Australian audience where they actually wanted to see you.
Yeah.
Not like another band.
No. So you can find ways to make people at home feel part
of a room.
Of one big family. That's it.
One thing I noticed was just the comments and the camaraderie between fans. And they're all talking to each other. And if one had had a slight technical problem because they hadn't refreshed the page when the live, you had people kind of say, have you tried doing this? And then, so they were actually helping each other out to make sure that everyone could get enjoyment, which I thought was just something I hadn't expected to see.
And it's funny because for the first time ever, that particular group, because they had all shared the same experience, what I found was that there was a greater, after the event, there was a greater bonding between them. Because obviously, they're fans and you might get one or two of them meeting at a show, but the majority of them shared the same experience. So afterwards, I mean, this is the week following it, that group's been really sort of active and they are chatting more to each other because they now feel a greater connection between each other. And
so the comments have continued?
Yes, very much so.
Oh, wow. I didn't. Yeah. That's news to me.
So those are the things that we learned in terms of marketing, promotion, and overall sort of handling. Shall we talk a little bit about how we sort of executed the technical side
How
of things?
technical do you want me to be?
Let's not be too technical. But we've already said we chose YouTube as a platform and did an unlisted link. You could do a private link, but then you'd have to send the email to the link to the email that's associated with that person's YouTube channel. Then you get people go, I haven't got a YouTube channel.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, an important part of it, I guess, your deciding factor, one of your deciding factors was knowing your audience.
Yes.
And kind of not being overly technical. Whilst Vimeo or Twitch might have been technically better, having to require an account for those things is going to make it a massively it's just putting a big barrier.
And we decided that everyone has got YouTube on either the phone or their iPad or the laptop or the TV. So, in terms of the uptake of that particular platform, in other words, if I'd have said, we're broadcasting it on Twitch, the majority of my audience would have gone, you're back.
Yeah, they would have been like, what? Yeah, so
it's quick and easy for us, easy for other pieces of software to talk to. And so it was a multicam shoot.
We used two cameras. I used a Blackmagic web presenter box to be able to cut between the two cameras. I used a Soundcraft UI16 Wi-Fi mixer. So the advantage of that was I was able to put the band in a separate part of the building, but be able to remotely control the mix and the cameras from the studio. And then we just broadcast out via OBS to your YouTube channel. And then, as Sheldon said, just basically copy share the link to Eventbrite. What did you do?
Well, we generated the link, streaming link on YouTube, and once we had that, then I was able to go into Eventbrite and send into my promoter panel and say, here's the link.
And then, in terms of, we just made sure that we just tried to dress up the room. Some of us tried better than others, but
it was partially successful. There was a few technical.
But in terms of, it's from my perspective, I had to make an investment in getting lights because, just like gig lights, because it's not something we've done before. So I've Sheldon spent money, I've spent money, but you feel that, the end results will warrant the outlay. So in terms of, we just kept it quite straightforward and just did a stereo mix. But, down the line, we would suggest two bands, including Hot Pots, to do a multi-channel Pro Tools recording, so you could do a deluxe box set. The reason I'm going to talk about deluxe box sets, did you see what was released? What was mentioned yesterday?
No.
Tears for Fears of releasing Sowing the Seeds of Love album, deluxe, super dope. How can you say that?
Yeah.
So. But in terms
I'm sure Alita Adams was it Alita Adams?
Yeah, it was.
Yes, I'm sure she's thrilled.
Yeah. But in terms of the reason I mention that is that, ultimately, if you get to know your fan base, they will pay extra for, a lot of extra things.
Yeah.
So.
The one thing that I think is definitely a must is having someone on what I would call virtual box office.
Yes.
So handling the queries from people who bought tickets, and what will happen is you'd send the link out and people go, I can't find the link, we sent it in an email, well, I haven't got an email, have you checked your junk mail out? And
yes, I think that's
what will happen is people will message you also on different platforms saying they haven't had the link. So we're gonna have a dedicated person on that, but through various logistics that fell through, and I think that's a definite. Certainly, if you've got a number of tickets sold, a number of tickets sold equals a number of queries,
and a certain level of expectation.
And yes, so a virtual box office person is a cert that's going to take the pressure off you, enabling you just to be an artist for the evening, and someone else can handle all the other. But technically, it worked.
Yeah, it technically. I think. You don't was that the first night that you used in-ear? You didn't use in-ear monitors, did you?
I did, yes.
You did, right?
Yeah.
And is that the first time you used in-ear monitors?
Yes.
Would you say in-ear monitors for a gigging band is important, or?
It depends upon the venue where you're playing and how good their monitor setup is and how good their engineer is in actually get it in there. But I used in-ear monitor,
but that's not essential.
That's not necessarily anything to do.
But in terms of for next time, I'm moving away from. I have my Blackmagic web presenter box, but I've now not upgraded, but I've implementing a Blackmagic 8M Pro ISO, which will enable me to operate and mix 4 cameras. I can bypass OBS, but then I can also record all 4 feeds as well as the mix feed, and then do post-editing in DaVinci Resolve, which now brings even more cameras and more angles and stuff like that. So for when you do the next one, we'll be able to implement more cameras.
Wowzers me trousers.
And, keep every member of the band happy. Well, attempt to keep every member of the band happy.
It's all to come. So those are our experiences in promoting and undertaking a live stream.
Quick question.
Event.
I know I've already asked you this.
Carry on.
Do
you need to ask me this while the camera's rolling?
Yes. In terms of, so ultimately, let's imagine the world was back to normal.
Yeah.
Would you still do it?
I would still have a certain amount of live streamed shows, yes, for the simple reason that...
pay to play. Sorry, pay to view.
Pay to view, for the simple reason that no matter where you are in the world and wherever you're gigging and performing, there's always going to be a good number of people who are, for whatever logistical reason, are never going to be able to come to your show. So it's like, for example, we have people watching Australia, New Zealand, Texas. Good old Eric. He's one of our great benefactors. And again, Europe. And I don't get to the number of places in this country, never mind other countries. And normally I've been very much of the opinion that, right, we're going to be playing here and you need to come here on this particular day. And if you're not, you're not going to see us. And that's fine. And, obviously live is still probably the best way to experience live music. But I've just realised that there is an audience of people who are going to struggle to get to those shows, no matter how popular those shows are.
Yeah.
And it's not about going, right, well, this is going to take away from my live shows. What it's really doing is it's supplementing and serving a different audience almost who aren't able to get to those live shows. So I think once we come out of this post-COVID, we've got to remember, yes, we can do these particular shows in these particular cities serving those local audiences. Mm-hmm. And what your live stream shows are for is all those people who either can't get to those or who and just don't live anywhere near those. And, you know, you're doing it for their convenience. And the people who want to come and see you live will, you know, they will, you know, you're just providing, you know, alternatives.
So, yeah.
It's a new paradigm, Greg.
It is. I think, and this is what I've been trying to say to bands. It's like at the moment, I know things aren't great, but, you know, it's giving both you and I an opportunity to try something that we probably wouldn't have done before. And, you know, and so far with a bit of thought and planning, it can be a success.
Yeah. So in terms of your marketing, do your groundwork first, build up your audience, make sure that you know you're giving them lots of content so that, you know, they'll value what you do. And when you come to do that ask and say, right, tickets for this live show are on sale, it should work. It's worked for me.
Yeah. So there you go. Subscribe.
Smash
that subscribe
recommend button. This show, which I'm sure it's been of great use this week, to a musical friend or colleague.
Quick question.
Yes.
Can people rewatch it if they've already bought a ticket?
Yes. And I've subsequently had one person buy a sort of, you know, I've charged somebody through PayPal for the price of a ticket and given them the link and let them watch it.
Oh, okay.
But people, yeah, I told people that they'd be able to rewatch it for 30 days. I think I might just leave it up there ad infinitum. They'll get bored of it soon enough.
So at least, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's on YouTube. You know, you've got it's you know it's there. It's libraried for anybody who wants to access it later. And I know some people have rewatched it in full as well.
Well, so there you go. You can't really lose, can you?
No.
There you go. See you next week.
We'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.